Hello, Watchmen of Ephraim. Hey, what's going on in Iran? I'm going to put my 2 cents in. Actually, I tried to put my 2 cents in last week. I spent an hour on here talking about this, and then when I went to upload the video, there was no sound. Hopefully, it won't happen this time. I was demoralized. I wasn't going to do it again. I've been bogged down with this job I've had. I had to switch jobs. It's taken up all my time. That's why, main reason why I haven't been on here lately. But gonna be in mostly retirement after May, so I'm gonna have a lot more time to ride this out until the end. So what's going on in Iran? The nation of Israel, or as I like to witness, Judah, the fourth son of Jacob, and the United States, which I witness is Ephraim. Actually, these are the two most powerful lead nations, land, people, countries, nations that are, well, they're going to suffer Jacob's trouble, and then the remnant's going to be regathered to lead the world nation-wise. These are the two lead tribes of the house of Israel, or Israel, Jacob. There was a split in the time of Solomon into two houses, the house of Israel and the house of Judah. These are the two lead nations. They're still together for the most part. And I did mention when it looked like a few years ago over Syria that these two nations would take on Russia over the control of Syria. And I said at the time, if that happens, you're going to see a display of military might, well, like you've never really seen before in your lifetime. Two best air forces, two best militaries in the world, and you're seeing them just devastate Iran. You know, what's going on behind the scenes? Is it because of nuclear weapons that Iran? Well, I don't think so. Behind it, the geopolitical reason is we want control. We want this regime gone because Big Don, like he did with the oil of Venezuela, he wrestled it out of that communist Nicolas Maduro, put it in our hands to squeeze China. They're our biggest competitors on the world scene, on the geopolitical world scene today. What's Trump trying to do? He's trying to reestablish the United States as numero uno economically. They were selling their oil dirt cheap to China. Well, we have it. We have the control now, and we're giving it to whomever we want. One of the countries we're not giving it to is Cuba. We're strangling them, trying to get rid of that communist government. Get Chinese influence out of the Western Hemisphere, and also get rid of Chinese influence out of Iran, taking control of the Strait of Hormuz. China purchases 90% of Iran's oil. What's Trump trying to do? He's trying to rebuild the American economy. He's trying to rebuild the fallen bricks with hewn stone. By the way, I'm also pretty burned out over this. But where are we also? Could we be now the beginning of sorrows? The beginning of the seven seals. It's in Matthew 24. We have this red horse. It's more like the guy looks red than the horse, but anyways. With a great sword. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? Trump wants to end what? Globalism. He wants to end the what? The current world order that was established after World War II, which handed the United States basically control of the world. So as this order, it's breaking up between Europe and the United States, NATO, what are you seeing? Well, you're seeing wars break out. You're seeing an imperialist type United States trying to reassert its dominance in the world as the number one world economy. But what's going on? I mean, it's ticking off the rest of the world for the most part, especially Europe, the EU. And I've covered that extensively and will continue to cover that. What's also happening? You see the two brothers, Israel, Judah, and Ephraim, they're still allies, but they're prophesied to become hostile toward one another. Let the spirits be tested. Already there's biting and devouring between United States and Canada. I'm going to follow that more closely, bring you articles and keep you up to date. Same with Britain. Notice Canada to the north, Britain to the east, over a body of water, Manasseh to the north. Notice Ephraim, I'm not going to get a clue. Notice it looks like the United States, and to the north, you have a larger landmass, Manasseh. We know that Britain's not, but if you throw Australia, which would be east of us, well, I guess, could be west. I mean, east. It mainly Britain here. I don't want to get too philosophical here or whatever, but over across a body of water, bickering, biting and devouring between Trump and the government of Britain, and also the government and the people of Canada. Okay. Ephraim against Manasseh, Manasseh against Ephraim, together they shall be against Judah. You don't see that yet. Jacob's family, Leah, 6 children, and by her handmaid Zilpah, 2 children, Gad and Asher, Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, and then Dan and Naphtali down here. I adjusted it more. So you have 12 sons, and actually the 2 sons of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh, were adopted by Jacob. Let my name and the names of my father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob be named on the lads. So actually, Ephraim became a 13th tribe. That's why you have the number 13 all over the beginnings of the United States, the original flag, the Great Seal of the United States. 13 colonies. And if you looked at the, and when I did this last week, I had a picture of it. Let's go ahead and pull it up. Look at the Great Seal of the United States. 13 arrows, 13 olive leaves, 13 olives, 13 stripes, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. Out of many, one. One nation composed of many nations. A bundle of the nations. Genesis. Or a handful. Or a multitude of the nations of the world. It's a bundle of nations together forming one nation. Why didn't let me get out. Why didn't America know who they were, seeing the number 13 all over their beginnings? Well, Isaiah 1:3 is one good reason. And why people don't know what's going on with these two countries beating down Iran. An ox knows its owner, and a donkey its master's manger or crib, but Israel does not know, my people do not understand. So you could let an ox, what they would do is they would let their animals out during the day and they would wander, but in the evening they would come back to their home. They knew who their owner was. They knew who they were, their identity. That's what God's trying to say here. Israel does not know. They don't know who they are. Well, I must have clicked it out. I'll just let me get out of that. Hosea 5:3. I know Ephraim, and Israel's not hidden from me, but to the masses they are hidden. All right. Test everything. This is why you're seeing, and I want to zero in on one particular prophecy concerning Joseph in Deuteronomy 33. As a witness who we are, Ephraim. But this is the reason why we're just beating down that country. It has to do a lot with the prophecies of Genesis 48, Genesis 49, Deuteronomy, or Leviticus. What do the arrows represent? Air power, air superiority. No match between the United States, Israel and the rest of the world. There's no match. But what I would like to mention also is we are on the clock concerning trying to rebuild our economy. Did you ever go look at the U.S. debt clock? Almost 40 trillion in debt. Look at these numbers just going off. See, Donald Trump's trying to reverse that. He's not doing a good job with the deficit. The interest is almost, it's just the interest alone we have to repay. It's just getting off the charts. Can Big Don pull it off? Well, if we're Ephraim, God says no. The bricks have fallen down, but we will rebuild with hewn stones. That's an allusion to the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers foundation were of bricks. The new World Trade Center, its foundation is hewn stone from the Adirondack Mountains. Covered that many times before. Anyways, let me just go through here. The reason why we're beating this country down is, well, let's look at some prophecies here. First of all, in the end, after the return of Messiah, he's going to judge Gog and Magog. This is a prophecy, Ezekiel 38. Has to do with after Messiah returns. He's going to rebuke many nations after he returns. And the last group of nations is going to be this, appears to be these many nations that come out of the north that will destroy Babylon. Jeremiah 50:51. Thus says the Lord God, behold, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshach, Tubal, these areas in Turkey that now have moved out to what? The areas of Russia. Russia, Meshach, Moscow, could be translated. I will turn you around and put hooks into your jaws and lead you out with all your army, horses and horsemen, all splendidly clothed, a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Now notice, Persia, Ethiopia, Cush, could be India, and Libya are with them. All of them with shield and helmet. So in the end, this Persia, this Iran, is going to align with Gog. That's Russia now. They're aligned with Russia right now. How will this war go in the end? Well, we don't know yet. Right now, Iran's getting the snot beat out of them because of who the United States is and who Israel or Judah is. We actually have the name Israel. Let my name be named on the lads. One would become a great nation, the other one would become a multitude, a handful, full of great nation. He too shall be a people, and he shall be great. Great Britain, Commonwealth. Truly his younger brother will be greater than he. It looks like the United States. And he shall become a bundle, a multitude of the nations. A bundle in the midst of the nations. me just get out of Ezekiel here. So again, I'm going to go through when did these prophecies, when did they begin? Well, we'll see, latter days. And Joseph said to his father, "No, not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." But his father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He also shall become a people, and he shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of," now you have ha in there, which means a multitude of the nations, not the multitude of the nations, or not the fullness of the nations, or fullness of the Gentiles. That is a Hebrew roots, evil, deceptive interpretation. They do not even, this lost sheep doctrine and two-house theology, they do not even get into the prophecy of Manasseh. Two separate nations, and their descendants would become two separate peoples in the midst of the earth. They try to say that they're a bunch of Hebrews waking up and keeping Torah around the world. His descendants, not 12 tribes scattered into the nations. There's another captivity coming. If we may go down, well, maybe not. Okay, something happened here. Well, when I clicked out of that one, I must have had other prophecies underneath it. So let me go to no, here, I'm good. Okay. Notice Genesis 49:1. And Jacob called his sons, after he gave the blessing, the birthright, to Ephraim and Manasseh, and said, "Gather together, that I may tell you what shall befall you." Now notice, in the last days. So in the prophecy to Judah, that goes by our name Israel, notice Judah, fourth son, you have this. Notice, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He bows down, he lies down as a lion. They don't mess around, man. They get attacked. Their jets are in the air. They're getting rid of. They're eradicating the problem. As a lion, who shall rouse him? The scepter shall not depart from Judah. All right. Well, hold on here, because I left the main prophecy out. Forgive me. Well, anyways, let me see if I can slip in verse 8. Sorry about that. Let's click it again, see if verse 8 covers it. All right, now notice verse 8. Judah, you are he whom your brothers shall praise. Well, that's Messiah in the end. Now notice, your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. I did a prophecy concerning the attack 2 years ago by Hamas and then Hezbollah. Who's always beating back their enemies in the Middle East? Right here. Judah. Devastating. Iran, that's Saudi Arabia. Iran. Taking out their leaders the first day. On the neck of their enemies, always beating back their enemies. This is why, see, these blessings are still in the latter days. These blessings are still in effect. How long they'll go on, I don't know. So they're beating back their enemies. All right? He's a lion, like a lion. Oh, what's the end sign of? What's the banner? It's the lion. We're going to get to Ephraim here in a minute here. We're going to go to Ephraim next. What's the United States known for? What's one of the things it's known for? Cattle, beef, bulls, right? What's our military like? Well, we're going to get a description here in a minute. We have the bull of Ephraim. Let's continue here. Let me see here. Let's do this. Notice the prophecy of Joseph. In the latter days. Joseph is a fruitful bough or a vine. A fruitful vine by a well watered. What happens with a well-watered plant? It grows abundantly. His branches run over the wall. In other words, he's an expanding people, like a colonizing people. I had on my last video, and I forgot to put it up. Again, I lost all this too. I forgot to put up the British Empire, the American Empire. After World War II, we occupied half of Europe. We had the Philippines. We had Japan. We had a lot of China. We had an empire. We were the only nation that had the atomic bomb. What two nations in the latter days, two brothers, they happen to be two brothers, dominated the earth, colonized the earth, went out beyond their borders? This is what will befall you in the latter days. Like Judah. His hands will be on the neck of his enemies. He'll beat back his enemies. Then you have Britain, the United States, Manasseh the first one to come, and then truly his younger brother will be greater than he. We could have conquered the earth after World War II. We were the only nation that had the atomic bomb. We had the world handed to us. Just like Joseph had the world handed to him in Egypt. We did a lousy job of managing that. Of course, our identity's hidden. Notice all the mysteries of God are hidden, like the lake of fire and why you're not under the laws written by Moses. Paul's allusions to dying and being raised with Christ, just like Aaron and his sons died and were raised together. Do you notice that? All these things are in mysteries. They're hidden. The archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him. Right? We've had many enemies in the United States. We've beat them back. Now notice, but his bow remained in strength. You know, I just cringe. The constant boasting of our military by Trump and his cabinet members. And the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. He told Abraham, I am your reward. I am your shield. And your exceeding reward. We got it all from our Creator. And we're boasting like we're doing it ourselves. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Let me just go on here. The Almighty, now notice, by the God of your Father who will help you, and the Almighty who will bless you with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the breasts and of the womb. The blessings of your Father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors up to the utmost and everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph and on the crown of the head who was separate from his brothers. We're separate from Western Europe, from the tribes that are over here. We are separate. That's why the eagle looks to the west. Who does that describe? Blessings of heaven above and the earth beneath. Abundant minerals, gold, coal, oil. We're the biggest oil producer in the world. Best climate. The United States is what? The breadbasket of the world. But I think I X'd it out. It's hidden. Like all the mysteries are hidden. That's why it's such a freak show, like on places like Facebook. Let's go on here. And once again, Judah, Deuteronomy 33:7. Moses gives the blessings again. Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him to his people. Probably the Messiah here. Let his hands be sufficient for him, and may you be a help against his enemies. That's why these two countries are beating down Iran. Notice this prophecy of... No, I did this separate. Let me get rid of that. This prophecy concerning Joseph in Deuteronomy 33. Moses said this about the people of Joseph. May Yahweh bless their land with wonderful or the best fruits from the dew from heaven. Who does that describe? With water from the springs and from the deeps below. Who's got just an abundance of water and aquifers below the land? Abundance of drinking water, rivers, the Great Lakes, with the best of the fruits that the sun brings. Look at all the fruit that we produce: grapes, apples, oranges. And with the best fruits that the moon brings, or of the months. Let the ancient mountains give the finest crops. I mean, look at the wheat, the corn, all the crops. But now they're cursed with genetic. Cursed will be your produce. Let the full earth and its fullness give the best fruits. And let the Lord who lived in the burning bush, the thorn bush, be pleased. All right. Now notice, may these blessings rest on the head of Joseph, on the forehead of the one who was blessed among his brothers. Now notice verse 17. This is what I want you to cue in here. Joseph has the majesty of a firstborn bull. He is as strong as a wild ox, or his horns are the horns of a wild ox. What's the ensign of Ephraim? The ox. Who's known for beef production? I mean, these things are hidden. They're mysteries. Right? Just like the lake of fire, just like the fire that can't be quenched. I mean, these things just the mystery of the Torah, of the priesthood, and all this stuff. Hidden. Oops. Notice. Okay. He will stab or gore other nations with them, even those nations far away at the ends of the earth. Listen to that prophecy. He will stab, he will gore the nations with them, with his horns, even those nations far away. A horn is a sign of power. The ox was an animal regarded as powerful in these Mideast culture. And the horn is a sign of power of an empire, of a nation. Gore nations that are at the ends of the earth or far away. Get it? What nation can project its military power to the ends of the earth? Who's the only nation that can really do that? With its navy, with its army. We've got aircraft carriers out in the sea here. We've got B-2 stealth bombers that can fly all the way over to Iran. I don't know why I keep going to Saudi Arabia, but all the way over to Iran, bomb them, and fly all the way back. We can fly to the ends of the earth. We did it over in Europe in World War I and II. We did it over in Iraq in the Gulf War. Who's the only country that can do that? The United States. Get it? We're goring this country that's far away to the ends of the earth. We did it in World War II with Japan's not on the map here. With Japan. Get it? We've gored nations, even nations that are at the ends of the earth or opposite the other end of the world. Get it? Just trying to explain why we're beating this country to a pulp and why Israel is. You're seeing the two brothers in action. Let me go down here. Let's read Leviticus 26:8. Blessings, these were actually unconditional, given to Abraham. 5 of you will pursue 100 men or chase 100 men. 100 of you will chase 10,000 men or put 10,000 to flight. What country does that? You know, in the first Gulf War, Desert Storm, what did we lose? Like 150 or 250 men. We killed over 100,000 Iraqis. So far in Iran, I think we've killed 2,000 people around there. And we've lost like 10. Get it? You see the full blessings, but I do believe we are at the end. As a matter of fact, why are wars and rumors of wars increasing? Could we be, the 7 seals, the beginning of sorrows. You have to have this first before the tribulation. And I'm doing a teaching on why Donald Trump, Big Don, can't be the Assyrian or can't be the Antichrist. Well, number one, he's supposedly a believer. The Antichrist is going to be Antichrist. He's a believer. He's not a believer he's a believer in another Jesus, but still. This Antichrist, when he's manifest, is going to have no desire for women. We're not even into the first 4 trumpets. But let me go now to Matthew 24, because the seals are in Yeshua's discourse, all of it discourse. And you see that the tribulation comes after them. Well, actually, the 6th seal is really the tribulation and the day of the Lord, the wrath of the Lamb. So the 6th seal actually coincides with the Great Tribulation, the day of the Lord. But if you'll notice, now, verse 3, Matthew 24, verse 3, now as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? And Yeshua answered and said to them, Take heed that no one deceives you. So here's the first seal. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. So what he's not saying here is, many will come in his name saying, oh, I'm the Messiah. In other words, I myself am the Messiah. No. Many will come in his name saying that Jesus, Yeshua, indeed was the Messiah, and then they will deceive many into a false walk with them. Who can you think of first and foremost? Mainstream Orthodox Christianity, Trinity, immortality of the soul, the abominable doctrine of eternal torture. That is not, that's another Jesus and another God. Who can you think of that's growing in the leaps and bounds right now? Many will come in my name saying, I am the Christ. This is false Christianity, false religion. Many will come in my name saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. What movement do I witness and expose that's growing in leaps and bounds in these last days that are deceiving many? Well, that's the Hebrew Roots movement. Mainstream and Hebrew Roots, that's my field there because I was involved in both of them. Not really a mainstream. I was if you want to call it a nominal Catholic. What movement is deceiving people left and right, and they're liars? They're deceivers because of the false paradigm that they are snared into. Herbert Armstrong's False paradigm, Herbert and Loma. Which days do you keep? Which day is the Christian Sabbath? Among other things. Okay, you see the first seal. Okay, the white horse carrying a bow. All right. And you will hear of wars, now notice, and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. Pass, tui. But the end is not yet. I actually need a sip of water here. Notice what he's saying. But the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there will be famine. Let me back up. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Wars and rumors of wars. All these things must come to pass. Well, we got the Ukraine war. We got this war. We've got China ready to attack Taiwan. So this is what I'm getting at here. May we be at the time of what? The beginning of sorrows, or the seven seals. All right, if we go on in Matthew, notice that here's the third horse, famines and pestilences. The black horse, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrow. So the culmination of these three horses, fake religion, throw this actually from the beginning, when the rise of the Catholic Church. They've slaughtered millions. Islam slaughtered millions. Many have died because of religion. Wars and rumors of wars. The thing that has been is what will be. So it's happening in these last days. Notice here the fifth seal. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. That hasn't started yet. All right. The souls under the altar crying out to the avenger of blood. How long, O Lord, till you avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? That's an allusion to what? Priesthood. You are in the third heaven. You are in the New Jerusalem. You're a finished product. And then many will be offended. Well, here's the great falling away. Many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. You skip down to verse 14. This is interesting. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all nations, and then the end will come. I pose my wife a question. Is this gospel of the kingdom being preached in the world? No, it's not. That's my opinion. Herbert Armstrong didn't preach the gospel of the kingdom of God. He preached a false gospel. People like Anthony Buzzard, not preaching the kingdom. He's an ardent destructionist. Where are the mysteries of the gospel of the kingdom of God? Where did Yeshua say you could find them? In the Torah. Matthew 13:52. I don't think we're going to be, I don't think these people are going to be jumping up and down and saying, God is going to save the world. No, there's a time for everything in its season. When new disciples are brought, they're going to be educated on what they're going to be doing in the next age, in the ages to come. And we're not going to be stoning people to death and throwing them into a giant pit of fire. Right? Judgment's going to be committed to them. It's not going to be, okay, well done, good and faithful servant, you're a priest. What do you do? What's the judgment that's going to be committed to you? What's going out to the nations? That's when the Torah goes out, the rod of iron, to the common people of the land. You will be committed judgment, the judgment of purification, the fire that's not quenched, the bronze altar. Anyways, getting down here, I got off track. I'm just trying to show you that we're not in the tribulation yet. You need the seals first. You need 4 trumpet judgments before you even have the rise of this 8th beast. The 5th trumpet. Therefore, when you see the abomination of that's all, folks. Abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel, the prophet, standing in the holy place. Whoever reads, let him understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not go down and take anything out of his house. Let's go to verse 20. And pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath. Well, that's a teaching in itself. Talking to those in Judea and Jerusalem. You wouldn't want to be stuck on the Sabbath day in Jerusalem. Everything shuts down. It's not, Jesus isn't referring to you will be keeping the Sabbath as written by Moses at that time. For then there will be great tribulation. Notice verse 21. After, you see these 7 seals unraveling. Actually, this is probably the 7th seal right here. The 6th seal. The wrath of the Lamb. Great tribulation such as not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. So, did you notice that he's talking to the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem at that time? Great tribulation's not here yet. This is what I'm trying to say. What you're seeing is Judah, Ephraim, the 2 lead nations of the house of Israel and Judah, with the birthright blessing still intact, beating down a nation that, concerning the United States, is at the ends of the earth. He's goring them. Ephraim is goring him. Iran. Behind it, geopolitical thing, making America great, getting control of the oil. That's what backs up our dollar. Other than that, our dollar's worthless. We don't back it up by gold. But here's the thing. It's a race against time. Our crushing debt, number one. Can Don rebuild the bricks that have fallen down? Well, if we're Ephraim, and I believe we're Ephraim, test the spirits, because one of the things I need is for Judah and Israel and Ephraim to depart, to become enemies. It's already happening with Britain and Canada. We're biting and devouring one another. Otherwise, I'm staying where I'm at. I just need this to confirm a few things before I start mixing it up. So, that's my 2 cents on what's going on over there. It's hidden. The identity of these nations are hidden. The identity of the United States is hidden. A nation that can gore other nations to the ends of the earth. And another nation that's on the neck of its enemies. Let his hands be sufficient against his enemies. That's what you're seeing right now. And also, very likely, the beginning of sorrows. You're seeing the false religion. All you have to do is go on YouTube, go on to the Torah and to the testimony. If they don't speak according to this word, the shadows of the good things to come, no light in them. Scroll your Facebook. If you are a believer and have friends of different, just scroll and see if their doctrines align. Like I peeked in a couple days ago, and one person had a question. What is the lake of fire? Is it a place of eternal torture, or is it a place of where you're annihilated? And they're all, well, it's torture. What's a What are you seeing when you see interpretations like that apart from the Torah? One of the groups that I belong to, I'm not active on. I'm actually I deactivate. I peek in once in a while. I'm deactivated, but Grace versus Law. Two fake movements going back and forth. One says you got to keep the law of Moses. The other says no, you're under grace. You can keep. It's okay to. You have freedom in Christ to celebrate holidays like Christmas, Easter. Of course, along with those doctrines go the immortality of the soul, the Trinity. You get to see, if you're outside the paradigm, you see two fake movements going at it. Many are coming in his name and declaring that Yeshua is indeed the Messiah and will deceive many. But Yeshua said concerning the scriptures, concerning Torah, these are the things that speak about me. Of the end fulfillments, of course. One of them being the leper. Going outside, taking your sins and destroying the sins of humanity, but outside the camp. And thus taking the fire that can't be quenched and the bronze altar, bronze laver, lake of fire outside the camp. Let us go forth to him outside the gate, outside the city. See, this is why I need something to back me up. I need this to back me up because I'm going to do something with it. Among other things. Anyways, that's just me. That's my 2 cents in the little fish in a big pond. Okay, that's what you're seeing. What you're seeing is you're seeing the bull and the lion. Tearing apart, goring Persia. So thank you for your time and thank you for listening.